Howdy, historians. How's it going? So, now that you know what communism is, we can start to take a look at communist China. Now, we know from the last video that Mao Zedong and the communists had beaten out the nationalists and their form of democracy, and the takeover happens in 1949. The official date is October 1st of 1949 that Mao Zedong and the communists win. And now the People's Republic of China was born, and we go to the flag that we know today, and we go to more of the China that we know today. So the takeover is accomplished, again, October 1st, 1949, that the communists win, the People's Republic of China is created. Now, why the communists won? That's one thing that we want to take a look at here before we get too far down the slide. The communists won for a couple different reasons. One was the leadership of Mao Zedong. Mao was a strong leader. He had some good, effective tactics when they were fighting the war, and he was very popular. He was a good speaker. He was good with propaganda, so he was definitely part of it. But the communists won in a larger sense because they won the support of China's enormous peasant population. Peasants had long suffered at the hands of really brutal landlords. They paid very, very high taxes, and they were treated very poorly. And the communists had this idea of equality for all, especially for women and peasants, right? The workers of the world are going to unite to create this classless society where everybody is equal. So that was very appealing to peasants and to women. And also the policies of the previous government of the Republic of China, they were very unpopular. They had caused an economic depression. They hadn't really kicked out foreign influence, and the communists promised to end foreign influence, end foreign domination, and give people education, equality, jobs, a livelihood that the previous government hadn't been able to really accomplish. So these ideas of equality and classless society were very appealing. So the communists come in October 1st, 1849, and they institute a lot of reforms because it's now a full new economic system that really is going to lead to a political system as well. So Mao really built a one-party totalitarian state. What that means, there's one party that is in complete control. So there is the Communist Party of China, and that's it. There are not other parties that are allowed to exist, and that's still the case today. It is just a one-party totalitarian. One party has total control of the state, of the government, and they started to rebuild the Chinese society and economy very quickly. One thing that we saw early as a reform, and this is very common when you see communism come in or any type of totalitarian government where like one person or one party is in control. One thing you typically see is they start to diminish the importance of religion and they start to discourage religion. That's something that Mao Zedong and the communists did. They started to discourage Buddhism, Confucianism, and other traditional beliefs. We still see a lot of religious repression in China today. Christians, Muslims, others. We see lots of religious repression. That was one reform. We'll see lots of economic reforms. We'll get to that more with the Great Leap Forward. But in general, we could say economically, Mao Zedong and the communists took full control of the economy. We know that this is a central aspect of communism from the first video we watched. So the government took control of the economy. They, took ownership of all property, of all companies, and tried to go from a rural farming peasant society to more of a modernized industrial economy. That's the big kind of general idea for their economic reform. Societally, oh my gosh. Let's try that again. Their societal reforms, there we go. Tried to remove power from the old upper and middle class. And if you didn't support the revolution, you're beaten, you're thrown in labor camps, you're killed. So if you're a member of the old upper and middle class and you don't like that your power is being taken from you and you don't support the revolution, you're going to be forced to support the revolution. Another reform we saw was the expansion of education and healthcare. More people started to have access to education and healthcare in a way, but the healthcare was not very good. Women won equality in the eyes of the law. However, women still didn't really have full equality. They didn't get many promotions. They were actually usually paid less, even though everyone's supposed to be paid the same in communism. So women at least were equal in the eyes of the law, which was new, but they didn't truly achieve equality like they had been promised. We also saw the idea of collectivization. collectivization is when everything is owned collectively by society. So that's going to be a big economic idea for them, where land and labor are pooled together in a collective to try to increase productivity. So everything is owned and worked together. Everything is owned and worked collectively. So they tried the economic process of collectivization very early on. And then they also instituted a cultural revolution where they really tried to transform society and make everyone support communism. This is going to go through a number of different waves, the cultural revolution of communism. Early on it works well. They'll have a second cultural revolution in the 60s that's going to lead to widespread violence and almost a civil war. But the cultural revolution is really about you will support communism or else. That's honestly really the idea of their cultural revolution. Sorry, I'd take a quick pause there. Had to grab a drink and actually had to sneeze as well, and I didn't want you to have to hear that. Heaven forbid I sneeze on the recording. So, communists take over October 1st, 1949, and they just pass a boatload of reforms, right? Because with communism, you've got to completely transform the economy, and also you have to completely transform society, too. So the communists won a lot of support, preaching ideas of equality. That's going to be very appealing to peasants and women. And then they put in all these reforms. They take over the government with their one-party totalitarian state. They discourage religion. They centralize the economy. They collectivize the economy. They remove the old upper and middle class from power, expand education, expand healthcare. Women are equal before the law. And they try this cultural revolution. One aspect of their cultural revolution is education, of course. This is called Mao's Little Red Book. So these are quotes from Chairman Mao Zedong and different things that you could use to help teach young people. These little red books, these little red readers were given to all the young people going through school in China as they use the educational system to get people to support communism and kind of brainwash them, if you will. But that's actually pretty normal. Like all education, when you really think about it, has some aspects of brainwashing in it. Yes, even yours, because we need to get you to, like, believe in democracy and capitalism. It's the same thing in a communist country. They need to get you to believe in Chairman Mao. They need to get you to believe in the one-party totalitarian state. Need to get you to believe in communism and that it's the best. So that was a big part of the Cultural Revolution too. So when I see you guys next time, we'll come back and we'll look at the Great Leap Forward. There's going to be a bunch of economic reforms that are going to ultimately fail. And then we'll look at some later reforms from Mao, and then eventually the death of Mao and some post-Mao reforms that they make in communist China. But we'll wrap it up here for today, since you've already seen what communism is and now the early reforms in communist China. So next time I see you, Great Leap Forward. Don't forget to head over to the assignment section and take the quick quiz. There'll be a couple questions about the first video, what is communism, and then a couple questions here about our second video, early reforms in communist China. Hope y'all are well. Hope everything is going good. If you ever have any feedback, hit me up in Teams and let me know. And until next time, ladies, miss ya. Can't wait to see you again. Have a great day. Ta-ta, adios, au revoir, bye in Russian. Ta-ta.